Welcome back. I'm Ben Mankiewicz, joined by Ali Estefan. Ali, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell everybody where you're from.
I am from Brazil, from São Paulo, Brazil, and I've been living in New York for the past 4 years.
And what brought you to New York?
The reason why I decided to come was because I was very frustrated with the system in Brazil. I was working in the public sector and I was looking for ways of increasing my knowledge to improve Brazil somehow.
You're an urban planner.
I'm an urban planner, yes.
That was the school you got into in New York. So when you came to New York to get your master's, did you expect to stay, or did you think that I'll just get my degree and I'll head back to Brazil?
I actually thought I was going to go back to Brazil.
But you didn't?
I didn't.
And now you live and work in the city?
Yes.
So what happened? What changed for you?
I think I fell in love with the city when I started living there. The city is very charming and it's very, it's like a symbol. So I just decided
You're talking about New York City,
yes,
just to be clear.
I'm talking about New York
Very simple.
City.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just decided that. I felt very, very comfortable and I felt that I belonged to this city. So I just decided to stay. So
based on the movies you watched, what did you think you were going to find when you got to America?
I thought that it was going to be, talking about New York, I thought it was going to be a very fast city. Everything happening at the same time, people walking very fast. And kind of a luxury life, which is not exactly what I encounter, but it's...
So what made you think that it was going to be, I know why you'd think it was going to be fast. I'm curious why you thought it might be luxurious. Where did that come from?
I think because when you see New York portrayed on movies and TV shows, people are always living on very good apartments and going to very good restaurants and having drinks. But when you go there and actually live there, you see that things are very different.
Yeah, you got a kitchen that's the size of a closet and the bathrooms that's the size of a closet and a closet that's the size of a closet, right? And one bedroom at most, right? Mm-hmm. So you've lived here for 4 years.
Yes.
I know you spoke some English when you got here, but obviously your English has gotten infinitely better over these last 4 years. The movies helped you learn English.
Right? Yes, a lot.
And that was intentional on your part?
Yes. I used to watch movies. I had to be by myself because I would watch in English with English subtitles. And every time some words that I didn't know came up, I would just pause the movie, write it down, and just... we didn't have Google at the time, so I just had a very big dictionary. So I would just research and see what the word was about.
So the movie that you have selected, Cool Hand Luke from 1967 with Paul Newman, is very much not a New York movie. How did you discover Cool Hand Luke?
When I was younger, one of my friends, he gave me a DVD from Taxi Driver, and I watched it. I fell in love with the movie. And then I decided to watch movies from the 70s or a bit older, and Cool Hand Luke was one of the movies that I saw at the time. Yeah,
sure. Cool Hand Luke from 1967, but it's really part of that 67 to 76 era of American movies. Any other movies from that? That's my favorite 10 years of American movies. Anything else from that era that got to you?
Yes, Easy Rider, The Sting, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of my favorites.
Yeah, mine too. And some classic movies too, older films too. Did that ever strike your fancy?
A couple. I saw some of Charlie Chaplin movies when I was in college, actually, because we were studying about the Industrial Revolution and we used the movies to understand it. And Hitchcock as well, I saw a couple of them.
What is it that appeals to you about Cool Hand Luke, and is there something particularly American about what appeals to you?
I think that his character shows a lot of authenticity and persistency. So from my perspective of the movies, that he doesn't bend to what he doesn't agree. And he's always looking for challenges, which I think it's very related to my idea of America. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to come here. I think it shows that if you have something in your mind, you can achieve it.
Your group of friends in Brazil, was that a thought that, Americans they go their own way, they stand up for what they believe in, even if the whole system is pushing back against them?
Yes, that's something that I think Brazilians in general have this idea of Americans.
Do you find that to be true?
I think it is in a certain sense. Not everyone is like this, but I found a lot of people who are very persistent and grew a lot socially and economically because of their own persistency. So I think it does make sense.
All right, Allie, thanks very much. Let's take a look at the movie. We'll talk more afterwards. Here it is from 1967. Paul Newman, George Kennedy in Cool Hand Luke. Welcome back. I am once again here with Allie Estefan. Allie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we talked a lot about the big ideas before the movie in Cool Hand Luke, that he's a rebel, that he thumbs his nose at authority, that he goes his own way no matter the circumstances, right? And we found out at the end what those circumstances were. But there are also little things that drew you to this movie, the accents.
Yeah. So the accents for me, they were very different. As I mentioned before, I studied English in Brazil, but we learned more of a neutral accent. I don't know exactly where that would be from, but yeah, the accent on Cool Hand Luke, it's very different, and it was super challenging for me to watch it without subtitles because I couldn't understand it very well.
You're worldly, you speak 4 languages, you care about the world around you, you had an idea about America. Much of that was framed by the movies. You go to class at Columbia for urban planning, and the professors aren't slowing down because they got a Brazilian student. Must have been a little overwhelming. And still, turned out you wanted to stay, right? You just got your green card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So why?
I have a chance to improve the city somehow. And also because one of the reasons why I wanted to study here was because I wanted to improve Brazil as well. But being in Brazil, it's people don't respect you as much as being in the US. So I realized that being here and like being a professional working in New York, people would respect me more. So because I have this master's and also I'm working here, I've been invited to teach in Brazil. So I teach urban planning in a Brazilian university. And I also had conversations with the first commissioner of urban planning, and other people from the mayor of São Paulo. I also had a meeting with him, and I think that this only happened because I'm here in the U.S. and people respect me more because of that.
Some people might not understand what it means to have a master's in urban planning. What is it that you do when you say you want to make things better in Brazil and around the world and in New York? How? By doing what?
So urban planners build cities. So they do, for example, decide the zoning, the uses of a certain neighborhood, where the roads will go, where the subway stations will go, where the parks will go. It's as if we had a strategic view on the city and we would decide how to improve it. I particularly work with public participation for urban planning. So every time the city has a big project going on, they hire the company that I work for. And we do all the strategies to engage with communities. So we do workshops with communities, we participate in public meetings and do interviews.
And you also work with Brazilian refugees.
I do. I work with Brazilian. I'm a board member of a community-based organization that works with Brazilians living in New York.
What kind of Brazilian refugees are in New York that you need to help?
Most of them are women that suffered some kind of domestic violence.
And had to leave Brazil for their own safety.
Yeah.
That must be incredibly challenging.
It is. It is very challenging.
And also has to be incredibly hard for these women. I mean, the circumstances that drove them out is horrible, and they have to leave their families and their country just for their own safety.
Yeah. So that's the goal of the organization, just to provide a place where they can have some kind of support since they've been through all this horrible process.
Allie, this was terrific. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on the idea of America for tonight, but we'll do it over the next 2 Fridays. So please come back and check that out. For now, TCM Underground is next. Stay with us.